Ketanji Brown Jackson's Senate confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court have concluded, leaving us with some notable moments that we're going to look at today. So I'll just say at the top of this, I love Ketanji Brown Jackson and think she would be a great addition to the Supreme Court. A lot of what we're going to look at today is Republican senators trying to negatively characterize Ketanji Brown Jackson because, of course, she was nominated by Biden, so they got to go against her. And honestly, I would have no problem. She definitely would rule in ways that would make them unhappy, so this isn't just them going after her for no reason. But what makes it so upsetting is the way in which they do it is so dishonest. And instead of just questioning her in certain areas where they think they would have disagreements, they took previous rulings that she had made out of context, distorted them, asked her bizarre questions about critical race theory, and just all around did their absolute best to make her look as bad as possible. But as far as these hearings go, she performed amazing. Just question after question, she put the senators in their place, was not intimidated by them, and stayed very calm, cool, and collected throughout it all. I'm gonna be honest, if I was in one of those hearings and they were trying to dishonestly characterize me in this kind of way, I would get so upset and start screaming back at them. But no, she stayed super calm, and I think that really helped her make her points without coming off as irrational. So let's just jump into the first clip. Lindsey Graham seemed like he wanted to take this opportunity to just air old grievances about previous Senate confirmation hearings. So in this clip, you'll see him saying, oh, we're not gonna do all the terrible things that the Democrats did to Kavanaugh, and oh, the way that they treated him, we're not gonna do that. It's like, dude, she's right here. Just talk about her. Why are you still talking about Kavanaugh? Let's take a look.
Now, when we say this is not Kavanaugh, what do we mean? It means that Democratic senators are not going to have their windows busted by groups. That's what it means. It means that no Republican senator is going to unleash on you an attack about your character when the hearing is virtually over. None of us, I hope, have been sitting on information about you as a person for weeks or months. You come into our offices and we never share it with you to allow you to give your side of the story. We wait to the very last minute when the hearing's about to be gavel concluded and say, oh, by the way, I've got this letter. And so happened that every media outlet in the country had the letter too. So the next morning there were headlines all over the country, really, accusing Judge Kavanaugh of being basically Bill Cosby. None of us are going to do that to you. And if any of us does that to you, all hell will break out. And it should.
So there we go. He just really thinks it's important to take time with Ketanji Brown Jackson to compare the way that he's going to be treating her to that of the Democrats. And to wrap up the clips of Lindsey Graham, a lot of senators' main priority in these hearings is to create a big spectacle, a moment that can be clipped out and go viral. And so much of it is just posturing and them just trying to get attention. And this is a great example of that. Lindsey Graham, at the end of going on some rant, I don't even know what he was talking about. I skipped through this part. He stormed out of the hearing.
Look at the friggin' Afghan government. It's made up of former detainees at Gitmo. This whole thing by the left about this war ain't working.
Let me also note that Larry Thompson, who served as Deputy Attorney General under President George W. Bush,
Oh, Lindsey. One of the big points that conservatives really wanted to stick on Ketanji Brown Jackson was that she is soft on child predators. They pieced together this weird collection of past rulings and then characterized it in such a way that made it seem like, oh, she really did not give long sentences to people who had child pornography, for example. But plenty of even right-wing publications looked into this and found that she was ruling right along with what other judges were sentencing these types of crimes. And so it really just is a case of things being taken out of context and then explained in a dishonest manner to make her look bad. But one of the people who was really leading the charge on this was Josh Hawley, and here's one of those moments.
Is it your view that society is too hard on sex offenders? You say they truly are shunned in society. You wrote that many of these laws are products of a climate of fear, hatred, and revenge. So just is that still your view? I mean, do you think that these laws are too tough, that we're too tough on sex offenders? Explain what you meant.
Many years ago, as a law school student, I was evaluating a new set of legislation, state laws about registration and I was analyzing them as law students do. Wasn't about the sex crime, it was about the characterization of the law. Is it a punitive law? Is it a prescriptive law? And how would a court go about determining that? That was the frame that I used then. It could have been about anything. It was about the characterization of legislation.
So again, he's just another senator who is trying to get a lot of attention out of these hearings. And the way that he's hoping to do that is bring up this very provocative topic, and one that he knows a lot of his base cares about because of QAnon. But even non-QAnon involved people are going to be disgusted by the prospect of really anything to do with child sexual exploitation or child pornography. And so he's taking this very universally hated and vile topic and trying to slap it on to the character of Ketanji Brown Jackson. But again, as I mentioned, this is not borne out in her broader judicial history, and she seems to have ruled in a way that was right along with her judicial peers. Moving on to another great example of someone just trying to get attention, Ted Cruz. Of course, we gotta bring up critical race theory. He got really passionate because I am Ted Cruz and I'm a real, genuine person who cares about stuff. And he had some hard-hitting questions for Ketanji Brown Jackson. Let's take a look.
Anti-Racist Baby by Ibram Kendi. And there are portions of this book that I find really quite remarkable. One portion of the book says babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There is no neutrality. Another portion of the book, they recommend to babies confess when being racist. Now, this is a book that is taught at Georgetown Day School to students in pre-K through second grade, so 4 through 7 years old. Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
I do not believe that any child should be made to feel as though they are racist or though they are not valued or though they are less than, that they are victims, that they are oppressors. I don't believe in any of that. But what I will say is that when you asked me whether or not this was taught in schools, critical race theory, my understanding is that critical race theory as an academic theory is taught in law schools, and to the extent that you were asking the question, I understood you to be addressing public schools. Georgetown Day School, just like the religious school that Justice Barrett was on the board of, is a private school.
Again, Ketanji Brown Jackson just handled that all much better than I would. And moving on to the next Ted Cruz clip I want to look at, he also got on the topic of child pornography as it relates to Ketanji Brown Jackson's past rulings. And when he was asking one of these questions, his time expired, but instead of stopping his questioning like you're supposed to, he is a man of the people, so he kept on pushing. Let's look.
Question is,
Senator
why
Cruz,
did you sentence Stewart, an egregious child pornography possessor, to half of the amount requested by the prosecutor?
Please, Senator.
Will you allow her to answer the question, Chairman Durbin?
Senator Coons.
Why are you not allowing her to answer the question? There's not another senator here that you've not allowed her to answer the question.
I'm
not asking another question, but allow her to answer the question, Chairman Durbin.
Thank you, Chairman Durbin.
Why do you not want the American people to know what happened in the Stewart case or any of these cases? Chairman Durbin, I've never seen the chairman refuse to allow a witness to answer a question. You can bang it as loud as you want.
Well, I can just tell you, at some point you have to follow the rules.
Okay, will you let her answer the question? You've been interrupting, and by the way, with Senator Graham, it went 10 minutes over. You've taken a big chunk of the time. Will you allow her to answer the question?
You've given her.
Why are you afraid of her? She's welcome to answer it right now. Will you let her?
I am so disappointed with the way that the Democratic senators handled that. Come on, show some strength. No, please, Ted Cruz, stop. Please, please. Oh, okay. Stop. Okay, no. Stop. Okay. And finally, moving on to our last clip, Marsha Blackburn asked maybe one of the hardest hitting questions to Ketanji Brown Jackson. She asked, what is the meaning of woman?
The whole
Okay.
thing.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the
All right.
law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you
So of course, that's the big line from conservatives, because as I articulated in my video explaining all about transgender people and topics, there is a huge misunderstanding, not just on the right, but even on the left, about gender identity. And so because of that, they really have a hard time understanding, much less supporting transgender people. So they do things like that, asking what is the meaning of a woman, because she wants to box Ketanji Brown Jackson into a definition that would either not include transgender people, or it would, and Marsha Blackburn would go after that. And if you're watching this still a little confused, yeah, wait, isn't man and woman biological? How isn't Marsha Blackburn wrong on that? Just go back and watch my video. It's on my channel. Just click videos and then scroll down. It says transgender people and topics, what you should know. Watch it, because once you understand the basics, it's so easy, and you're gonna be inspired to support transgender people and their right to be whatever gender they identify as. And when you do understand that, that's what makes it so silly and dumb to see someone like Senator Marsha Blackburn ask such a question. And that's why I thought Ketanji Brown Jackson's response was perfect. Just don't give it any air. There really is no reason for these hearings. She needs to be defining individual words like that. So that was Ketanji Brown Jackson's Senate confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court. And once again, I just want to say I'm so happy at her performance in those hearings and at her judicial history. I think she's super qualified and will make a great Supreme Court justice. And of course, it is historic because she'll be the first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. It looks inevitable that she will get confirmed, and to me, that is great news. Here's what else you need to know today. Republican Senator Susan Collins comes out in support of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation to the Supreme Court, which further secures the inevitability of Jackson's successful confirmation. It has been revealed that Donald Trump made a number of phone calls on January 6th that were removed from the official White House logs, begging the question of what he might be hiding. Russia has said they will drastically reduce their military assault on 2 regions of Ukraine, indicating a possible retreat due to their heavy losses, but Biden and the US government says they're skeptical of this commitment. Reporting shows that after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, he was asked to leave but refused. Be well, everybody.